Hi, my name's Katie, and this is the Three Bags Full podcast. This is the first episode, and I'm really excited to be doing this. You can find me as Air Hornsman on Ravelry and Instagram. I'm probably most active on Instagram, but I'm not a huge social media person. You can definitely tell if you find me on Ravelry, you'll see I barely update my project pages. Which is a shame because Ravelry is a great resource. I just don't utilize it. I've been knitting for over 10 years. I started in high school. I knit mostly for others. As you'll see, I have this huge stack of finished objects, and they're all Christmas gifts. My husband has a sweater. I don't have a sweater for myself yet. It's kind of how it goes. I have a few finished objects to show you today. I figure we'll go through those. I'll go through my works in progress and maybe some acquisitions, and we'll just see how it goes. And then if you have any comments or whatever, or you have any ideas for the next episode or what you want to see, you can leave them in the YouTube comments. And if there's interest in a Ravelry group, then you can let me know and I'll set one up. All right, so let's get into it. This is my first finished object. I'm knitting all my Christmas gifts this year because I wanted to save some money. Clearly not some time, but save some money. So I'm digging out a stash and things like that, and or using more inexpensive yarns, just budgeting less what I would pay on a Christmas gift and putting more time and effort into it. So everyone's getting something hand knit, and it's great because my husband doesn't get to put any effort into it, which is great for him. So I'm doing all the work this year. But my mother-in-law's getting this hat. It's super sparkly, which is something she's into. It's out of Hobby Lobby's Mix and Mingle yarn. I'm not entirely sure if that's correct. I got it. It was on clearance. I think I was in there for cross-stitch supplies, and I was on clearance. And I should mention, this is definitely a knitting, spinning, crafting podcast. If I didn't mention that first, I probably should have. Yeah, I knit, I spin yarn, I do some crochet, I do some cross stitch, mostly knit. But I do have some crochet items to show you today. This was knit out of one of their sparkly yarns. It has like maybe 5% wool, so basically no wool in it. But it's cozy. It's soft. This is the Squarshy pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and you'll see slip stitches kind of make this rib along it. Well, rib might be the wrong word, but sort of a spine. Spine might be a better word. Up and down the hat. And it's, like I said, it's a free pattern. It's written for bulky weight yarn. And I put this Faux Fur Pom Pom on. And the Faux Fur Pom Pom was a bulk package from Amazon. I think I got a dozen of them in different natural colors. They were cheap, and they feel a little cheap, but they think they look fine. They snap on, so you can see it snaps right off, and then it just snaps right back on. I sewed the snap with some embroidery floss because for some reason I don't own any sewing thread onto the top of the hat, and so my mother-in-law can remove that if she wants to, and then the hat to the pom-pom just snaps right back on. I will put a link in the description box. In fact, all my show notes will be in the description box, but there will be a link to that in the Amazon link to the Faux Fur Pom Poms in case you're interested in. I think I got 12 of them for around $13, so not a bad deal, not super high quality, but for quick hats, for people who probably aren't going to launder them very well and they snap off, it's a good deal. It was worth it. So my second finished object is this hat I knit for my brother-in-law. This is the Sockhead Slouch Hat. This is another free pattern on Ravelry. I knit this using a local dyer to me in Omaha, Nebraska, the Dyeing Arts. Here's her label on another ball yarn I got in acquisitions, but this is her label. This is her Superwash Merino bamboo and nylon base, so it's super soft. I used the bamboo merino base because my brother-in-law lives in LA and he might be moving to Phoenix. So I wanted something that wasn't super hot. This colorway is called Goblin Elbows, and it's a really fun colorway, very pretty blues. This pattern has 4 inches of ribbing, and anyone who knows me knows that ribbing is my least favorite part of any project. I hate doing it on socks. I hate doing it on hats. And 4 inches was definitely a labor of love on fingering weight yarn on like size 2 needles. And he's worth it, but it was definitely a labor of love. My brother-in-law is a hip-hop artist, and he just released his first EP. And so I wanted to make him something special because I knew that was in the works. And his stage name is Take the Week Off, and he does all kinds of cool like remixes and his own original work. And he also screen printed some t-shirts for his own like brand, and so I have some of his t-shirts, so I knew he would appreciate the hard work that went into this. But it was a lot of knitting. I rarely knit fingering weight projects for myself. I enjoy socks. I don't enjoy the process of knitting them, so I have very few hand knit socks, because it's just, they take a while and I'm impatient. I like worsted weight and bulky weight projects because I like my projects to get done quickly. My third finished object is this Barley hat. It's by Tin Can Knits, part of their simple collection. And this would be this is a really great pattern. I knit a lot of hats. Hats are my favorite thing to knit because there's only one of them. You never have to knit a pair of hats. This is a great pattern though because it's made for people learning how to knit, and I definitely recommend it for someone's first hat because you've got your knits and your purls and your ribbing, and you have your decreases with your double point needles. It's perfect. I knit this out of Plymouth Merino Select Superwash, and one thing I noticed about Superwash yarn is it always feels pretty cold to the touch compared to like this hat, which feels a little bit warmer to the touch because it's regular 100% wool, non-superwash. But this is very soft. It was very slippery to knit with because of the superwash. One thing I don't like about superwash is if I buy some online, then I have to wind it myself. I have an Amish Swift and a regular ball winder. Winding it takes a long time because it always tries to flip up off the Swift because it's so slippery. So I always try to buy my superwash in a store where I can have the owner or the clerk wind it for me because that's a hassle I don't enjoy. This yarn is a beautiful color. It's this pumpkin-y, spicy color. And this is for my father-in-law, and I think he'll really enjoy it. He likes to ride bikes in all kinds of weather. And this is a little slouchy, but I think he'll enjoy it. That is the style now, so he'll enjoy being hip. It's covered in cat hair like every single one of my other finished objects. Everything's getting a good lint rolling and a good washing before it goes off. I have 2 cats, Charlie and Simon. And Simon is a white cat, and he sheds like crazy. He also bites people. He's not a very good cat. And then there's Charlie, and Charlie doesn't shed as much, but he is an Abyssinian mix, so his fur is very distinctive. It's each fur is ticked, so it's like white, black, brown, all in the same fur. So it creates a very interesting fur pattern. So I always know who sat on my project. So this one's for my father-in-law, and it's very soft. I think he'll enjoy it. And then I knit the same hat and Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted for my brother, and I think it was the Evergreen colorway, and I really enjoyed it. This is one hat I don't get sick of knitting. Normally I don't like doing the same pattern twice, but this one is so quick, so easy, and just fun that I don't get sick of knitting it. If you hear any thumping in the background, it's probably my neighbor. I live in a very small apartment with very close neighbors. So this one is a little more rustic, but still soft. And like I said, everything's getting a bath, so it'll soften up. And there's not much more to say about this. It's the same pattern. Once again, covered in cat hair. I like this color a lot. It'll look great on my brother. My brother, my sister, and my niece all live together. They live in a neighboring town, and it's just west of here. And to save money, they all live together in a large apartment. And so I texted my niece and I said, if I knit you all wool hats, you have to make sure that John doesn't throw his in the wash, because I'll be very angry and he'll never get anything knit again. And my niece texted me back and she's like, yeah, we can wash his stuff for him. Like, we'll make sure. Like, apparently they're already washing his stuff anyways. Apparently they've taken over laundry already. And my sister's taken over cooking, which is bizarre because she works the night shift. But it's a funny dynamic they have, and I'm just glad I'm not living with them because I don't think I'd fit in. My last finished object is, this is the Accordion hooded cowl. This one I knit out of Malabrigo. Is it Malabrigo or Malabrigo? I've always wondered that, and if someone knows the definitive answer, then definitely let me know in the comments down below, because I don't want to live my life being wrong. This cowl pattern is free. It's on Ravelry. It's very simple. It's just bands of stockinette and garter stitch. And it just, you put on like a cowl, but then you pull it up over your ears. And it's sort of like it's like a hood. This is for my mom. She does not wear hats. And the only other things I've knit for her, I knit her a pair of colorwork mittens, I knit her a headband, and they both turned out too small. So and she does not have a giant neck or a giant head, so this will fit her. She works in elementary school, and she's a media para, so she works in the library, but part of her job is doing recess duty. So she's outside in all kinds of weather, because they very rarely have inside recess. Unless it's raining, they don't have inside recess. So she's out there, and I thought this would keep her warm. It's in the Cold China colorway. You can kind of see the different colors in there. Cold China means Chinese cabbage in Spanish, and it definitely looks like a cabbage flower. I got this at Imagine It, my local yarn store, and the owner, Carla, she said it looks like a basket of apples, and I totally agree with her. I think it definitely looks very autumnal, very apple-y. I have a few works in progress to share. I did mention I have some crochet, which is very unusual because I don't crochet often. I'm terrible at it. Something about knitting, it just makes more sense to me, whereas crochet, the fact that you're working... In knitting, you work one stitch at a time, but you're building rows upon rows, and it's a series of loops. And if you make a mistake, like 3 rows back, you can you can rip down one stitch and fix it, and then work that stitch back up. And in crochet, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how you fix a stitch you made like 3 rows back, because it's a series of knots. So crochet's always been very intimidating for me, because I have no idea how to fix my mistakes other than completely ripping the entire thing out. But I saw this pattern for a triangle scarf using the Caron Cakes yarn. And this is the Caron Cakes yarn. It's huge. I think this is the Glazed Bun colorway. And it's my colors through and through. The grays, the yellows. But this pattern is free, and I saw it. Someone made a YouTube tutorial on how to make it. And it's very simple. It's just solid rows and open rows. And it's in a triangle. You can maintain the triangle shape. And it's fun. I enjoy it, and it's growing really quickly. That's one thing I do like about crochet, is it's fast and it grows quickly. And it uses a lot more yarn though, but I do like that. I will link to the video that I found, and I will link to the written pattern, because there's a written pattern. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I like the way it's working up. I like the Caron Cakes yarn. I'm the kind of person, I prefer natural fibers, but I do enjoy a nice acrylic. And with these colors, I don't mind that this is acrylic, especially because I've never done this pattern before. I never crochet, and I don't feel bad because this yarn was on Black Friday clearance. It was like $7 for over 600 yards. So I don't feel bad if I completely mess this up and end up with knots and ruin this yarn. Another crochet project, I bought this kit. Well, it's sort of a kit. I was at Michael's and they had this set on sale, and it was the Charisma Epic bag, and there's a pattern for a crochet blanket and a knit blanket, and you can see the colors in there. And I'm working on the crochet blanket, and it came with a pattern and a crochet hook, and you can see this is sort of a ripple pattern, so I'm working on that. And there's not much to report. I'm about like 3 rows in. I'm enjoying it. The crochet hook's nice. It's a nice birchwood crochet hook. It's a size L. Oh, on the scarf, I'm using a size K. Yeah, so not much to report. It's pretty basic. I've never done a ripple stitch before. I tried the granny stripe Afghan, and I could never get my edges to match up, be straight. So I ripped that out, but I'm attempting to give it another try. I will start that in the new year. The end of this year, through Christmas at least, is all projects for other people. So I'm actually really excited to be doing 2 crochet projects for myself, but they're going slowly just because I have to maybe do 1 row and then set it aside and then work on stuff for other people. I'm also working on my knitting projects. This is the KitKat hat, and it's by Andy of Andre Sue Knits. And this is done in LoLo Did It Simple Worsted. And it's in her Barely There collection in Clouds. And this is a 100% superwash merino. And you can see the really pretty colors in there. This is for my husband. He wanted a blue kitty cat hat. So when my husband asks for a blue kitty cat hat, he gets one. These are knit on size 6 needles, and these are the Licky Luca needles. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but they're very nice. I really enjoy them. I like how each needle is kind of a different color depending on which ones you get. They're very smooth. The joins can be a little rough. I don't know if you can, let me see if I can let you see that. The joins can be a little rough, but it doesn't catch on my fabric, so it's fine. I don't have their interchangeable set. I've only bought size 6, 7, and 8 of their 16-inch circulars, because those are the sizes I use the most, because I knit a lot of hats. But I've enjoyed them a lot. They're very slick. Yarn moves quickly over them, but not so much that stitches are falling off. So I really enjoy them. And I'm really enjoying this yarn. This is, like I said, LoLo Did It. This is my first order from her. I was watching a lot of people knit all those hippos for the holidays, and I ordered a hippo for Halloween because that was the one I was waiting for. Halloween is my thing. Halloween and Christmas are my 2 big things. And so I ordered the hippo for Halloween. I have not knitted up yet. I'm a horribly slow sock knitter, and I started my holiday gifts towards the end of October, beginning of November, so I haven't. The only things I've been working on for myself recently are the crochet blanket and the crochet scarf. So I've been pretty much in everybody else, non-selfish gift knitting mode. For my dad, my last work in progress for my dad, I'm working on this color work hat. And it's in this color, Blue Sky Fibers Wool Stock and Wild Thyme, and in Driftwood. And I'll show you the labels. See, Blue Sky Fibers. And this is label for Driftwood. And the label for Wild Thyme. And the hat is knit on, I want to say, size 6, so that's 4 millimeter. I'm terrible at the metric conversion, so you have to forgive me. And it's this color work pattern, these little triangles. And I think it's beautiful. I'm really enjoying it. The wool stock is rustic, but it's not scratchy. The Carla at Imagine helped me pick it out. It's new to our shop. I really enjoy it. I think it's perfect for color work. The way that it's definitely a woolen spun. It's very lightweight, 2-ply, and I think that makes it perfect for color work. The pattern is actually out of this book called Wool Journey, and it's by Pom Pom Press, and it's the Shetland Wool Journey. And I'm actually knitting the hat on the front in the 2-color worsted version. And what's funny is I actually ended up knitting the same color scheme as the sample in the book. The book has some great patterns. It has the pattern I'm knitting is called Eshaness. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but it's a very fun hat. Let's see, there's a couple other patterns. There's this pattern, Sandness. These little boot toppers. Let's see, this beautiful shawl. Let's see, there's a Stephen West pattern in here too. I'll show you the Stephen West pattern, which is really fun. And that pattern is called Helic or Helic. I'm not entirely sure, but they're really fun. And what's great about this book is that a lot of the patterns have multiple versions, or multiple variations. So what's great is that you can do different yarn weights or different variations, like a pattern, like different sizes. So you're getting multiple patterns in each pattern, and it's definitely, I bought the book for $15.50. It's definitely worth it. It comes with a digital code. I think it's my favorite book that I purchased this year because it has a lot of information about the Shetland Islands. It's got a lot of really cool pictures, cute illustrations. You learn a lot about Shetland wool. So in acquisitions, I have this yarn by the Dyeing Arts. Every year, our Omaha Weavers and Spinners Guild does a fiber arts fair, and you can buy woven items like dishcloths. Those are a really popular thing they sell. Little felted ornaments, hand woven vests and things like that, clothes, or fiber, spinning fiber or yarn. I had to decide between Shetland fiber and this yarn, and I chose this yarn. It's by like I said, it's by the Dyeing Arts, who is a local dyer and one of my favorites. I have a lot of her yarn and a lot of her fiber. This colorway is called Iron Horse, and it's on her Splendiferous base, which is 75% merino, 25% nylon, and that's superwash merino. And I thought this looked like a koi pond, and I do love koi ponds, so I had to get it. I'm sure this will be socks. I am almost certain this will be stripy socks. This looks like it's going to stripe, and I adore stripy socks. I love having stripy socks. I love having hand knit socks. I'm not the biggest fan of knitting socks. I do 2 inches of ribbing. The way I knit my socks, I do 2 inches of ribbing, 5 inches of stockinette. I do a short row heel, and then I knit the foot, and then I do a rounded or a regular wedge toe. And it's pretty basic. I don't do pattern socks. I don't enjoy them. I like just plain vanilla socks. I like a long cuff, which is why I do the 2 inches of ribbing and the 5 inches of stockinette for the cuff. For the leg, I enjoy knitting sport weight socks more. They are thicker, they're comfier for me, they're cozier, but they also knit up faster, and I like that. My favorite pair of socks is a purple striped sport weight pair of socks. I am knitting a pair of worsted weight socks for my brother-in-law. He lives in Brazil, and I didn't know what to knit someone who lives in Brazil, so I thought slipper socks. So he's getting slipper socks. But I have some Briggs and Little yarn. They're Tuffy. That's a worsted weight sock yarn. It's not superwash. That doesn't bother me. I don't mind hand washing stuff. But I'm really excited to knit myself a pair of worsted weight socks out of those because they'll be really comfy, like boot socks. But I have all this beautiful fingering weight sock yarn, and I hate knitting fingering weight socks because I'm super impatient. And I hate knitting socks because there's two of them. And when there's a pair of something, it's super hard to knit the second one. I have horrible second sock syndrome. I usually try and solve that by casting on for the second sock immediately. And I've tried knitting two at a time, but it's super tangly and I just don't enjoy it. I've also seen people who knit socks like concurrently, like they'll knit the cuff and they'll knit the cuff for the second one, and they'll knit the leg and they'll knit the leg and then the heel and the heel. And I've thought about doing that, and I do have enough needles to do that. So I might try that. That will mean splitting up yarn, but I might try that. And I knit my socks on double pointed. My favorite double pointed sock needles are the Knit Picks nickel plated. I bought their sock set, and I continued to buy their sock set had a zero, like a 00, 0, 1, 2, and a 3, or was it 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, something like that. And it was like $24, which was totally worth it because you got all those sets of five. You know, there were 5 double point needles in a set, and they're my favorite. Stitches don't slide off of them. But you can still, they slide easily, but they don't fall off. The needles bend a little bit, but I like the way they bend to the curve of my hand. They're just my favorite. They're a good length. I still buy, I haven't bought another complete set of their sock needles, but I've bought 1s and 2s. So I have multiple sets of the 1s and 2s, which are the ones I most frequently use. I knit my finger weight socks on 1s and my sport weight socks on 2s and my worsted weight socks on 5s. So, yeah. But the Knit Picks are my favorite. I'm really picky about my double point needles. I'm not picky. I'm actually not the pickiest about my needles. My favorite set of needles is for my 16 circulars is a set that I got on Amazon for $11, and it came from China, and they're not a bad quality. I have the longer set, but I would never use them for Magic Loop. But the 16-inch circular set's really nice, but it's mostly in small sizes. I think the biggest size is a 9 or an 8. But if they're still on Amazon, I'll put a link to them below if anyone's interested. I am really enjoying the Licca needles, though I might convert to those. As far as Magic Loop, I'm not the biggest Magic Loop person. So when I do Magic Loop, if I ever do Magic Loop for a sock, which I might do if I'm traveling with a sock and I don't want to lose my double point needles, I will probably usually use a Haya or a Chowgu. Both of those are fine for Magic Loop. I don't like Haya sharps. They hurt my fingertip. Although ever since I cut the tip of my finger a few months ago and it caused nerve damage, and so now I can push the tips of my needles with my fingertip and I don't feel it. So now high sharps aren't an issue anymore because I have no feeling in my fingertip. So I can kind of use any sort of sharpness of needle now, and it's not a big deal. But yeah, that was a huge digression. This is going to be socks. I also bought at the Fiber Festival this little dude. He's a Tomte, which is a Swedish gnome, and he's needle felted. Here's his little label, and this is the person who made him. And you'll see she's at Hot Shops. That's sort of an artist studio collective in Omaha. It's downtown, and people have studios there, and they can rent space. They can do all their work there. But his little red nose and his little locks for his beard, I thought he was super cute. I love gnomes. I love little Tomties. I collect them. And every year I go to the fiber fair, someone always makes needle felted ones, so I always buy one. In fact, any fiber festival you go to, there's always going to be a needle felted gnome, and I guarantee you I'm going to buy a needle felted gnome. I love them. They are my favorite. As a kid, I watched that show David the Gnome. I'm sure like everyone else in my age group did. And a little guy in a red hat with a beard is just like, I have to have a little guy in a red hat with a little beard. It's my childhood. I need it. But for some reason, I only remember one episode of David the Gnome, and it was the one where the girl ate the mushroom and it almost killed her. That's the only episode I remember. But still, red hat, gnome, I'm sold. Let's see. I did some Black Friday shopping and Small Business Saturday shopping. For Small Business Saturday, I bought Gee, does this colorway look familiar? It's the exact same as the colorway I bought at the Fiber Arts Fair. But this is by Wisdom Yarns, and it's prose, and this was on sale at my yarn shop, and I bought this. I can't tell if this is fingering or heavy fingering. The label says to use size 2 needles. I think that's too big, but I'll do a gauge swatch or something. But this is definitely going to be socks because it's going to stripe, and I love stripy socks. And the colorway has a number. It's color 406, so it doesn't have a name. It's a number. And then I bought this Kramer Yarns Tatami Tweed. It's a DK weight, and it's 45% cotton and 55% acrylic. And I thought that would make a really nice hat for my brother-in-law's girlfriend, the one who lives in LA. Just because, like I said, they might be going to Phoenix, and I wanted to make her just a nice, like, slouchy hat because it's kind of the style, and she's younger than me and way cooler than me, and I thought that'd be nice. And the purple tweed's really cute. And I did some Black Friday shopping. Let's see. I went to Joann's. They were doing a pre-Black Friday sale, like on Wednesday. It started their Black Friday on Wednesday, which I'm not going to complain. It was super dead. There wasn't no wait in line, because if you ever go to Joann's on a sale day or on a weekend, you realize, like, you just know you're waiting in line for like 15 minutes for anything. So I was really excited. I got in and out. I got 4 skeins of the Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool, and this is the oatmeal, and 4 skeins is a sweater's quantity for me, and I had a 25% off your entire purchase coupon, so that was a really great deal. And I'm excited to knit something out of this. I love this color. I don't know what it's going to be. Obviously a sweater, but I don't know what sweater. I have a few sweater patterns in my queue, but I'm not entirely sure. If I wanted something cabled, I'd probably have to buy another skein, which is no big deal. These don't exactly have dye lots, but I have no idea. I'm kind of at a loss. I have a lot of sweaters I'm interested in, but I can't seem to commit to any single one. So if anyone has any ideas of a fun worsted sweater that would be interesting, but not too, that's one that doesn't need a ton of concentration, because I'm just not in the mood for something that requires all my concentration, but something fun that would look good, be a good wardrobe staple, please give me some suggestions, because I feel like I've exhausted my searches and I'm just not finding anything. But I wear cardigans and pullovers, so it's not a big deal what you suggest, but I'd love to hear what anyone has as ideas. I also bought this adorable book called Dumpling Cats, and it's all amigurumi kitties, and they're little nuggets, little kitty nuggets. The book is $19.95, and it's published by Dover, and I got this at Joann's. And now at Joann's, you can use coupons on books. It used to be that way, and then it didn't used to be that way, and now you can. So as far as I know, you can use coupons on books. All right, I'll show you my favorite cat. His name is Cheeks, so named because he has little cheeks. Let's see if I can position this so you don't see the pattern. There we go. Isn't he cute? But yeah, there's really cute patterns in here, and really simple. I think they're all single crochet because it's amigurumi. So I have a feeling I can accomplish these. And they all use Vanna's Choice acrylic, which is a cheap acrylic, and it's almost always on sale. And I use acrylic for all the toys I make. I occasionally make an amigurumi, and I always use acrylic for it, because I don't see a point in using like a superwash or a fancy wool for it, especially because I just see the point. Acrylic has its purposes, and I'm a big fan of it. I use acrylic for blankets. I have a couple blankets in progress in hibernation. Like I tried a granny square blanket, not a granny square, but a granny stripe blanket that everyone's doing. My edges don't look so great, so I'm considering ripping it out and starting over. I also have some yarn for another granny stripe blanket, and it's all acrylic, and I'm so excited because there's a soft spot in my heart for acrylic blankets. And my grandmother crocheted this blanket out of what had to be Red Heart, and she was colorblind, and it's so obvious by the color she chose. But it's cozy and comfy and it has a lot of sentimental value. And that thing has been through the wash so many times and it's still holding up like iron and it's barely pilling. So yeah, I'm a big fan of acrylic yarn for blankets. Speaking of which, that the yarn in this set that I got is all acrylic. So, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very soft. If you want to make a blanket out of this stuff, I definitely recommend it. And the last thing I got was just kind of knitting related. I was at World Market getting some snacks because they had like all their snacks on sale, which they have this really good, I think they're German little ginger snap cookies in this big tin, and those are 50% off, so I had to get some of those. And then I ended up sending them home with my parents because there's no way I could keep those in the house. But they had their theme this year for Christmas is llamas, which I don't understand how llamas relate to Christmas, but I'll take it because I love llamas. And I got this little llama ornament, and he's all decked out for Christmas or something, but he's really cute. And I've noticed llamas are a big thing this Christmas. I don't get it. Like I said, I'm enjoying it though because I do like llamas. I like llamas a lot. I really enjoy them. They are fun. If I had to choose between an alpaca and a llama, I'd probably choose the llama, just because their personalities are a little bit different. I know I've talked to a lot of farmers at flower festivals who have llamas as like their guard animals, which I think is so funny. The idea of a llama just like fighting off like a coyote or something, because they will do that. And I just think it's great. Llamas are awesome. But yeah, that's all my works in progress, my finished objects, my acquisitions. That should be everything. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to start a Ravelry group. That's totally something I can do. Thanks for watching my first episode. If you made it all the way through, there are definitely some growing pains, but I'm excited to keep making episodes. I'm going to try and make this weekly or bi-weekly, whatever suits my schedule best. And we'll see how it goes. I hopefully will have a lot more to share with you next week. I'm hoping to crank out some more projects for Christmas gifts. And we'll see what I have in finished objects and works in progress. Hopefully it won't be the same works in progress, but we'll see. And maybe I'll have some more books or acquisitions to share with you. Next week is the beginning of December, isn't it? I think. Today is the 26th. I'll mention that. I think next week is the beginning of December, but if I know what date it is, something is clearly wrong. I never know what day it is. So I will see you in December, I think. All right. Bye.